Welcome back to the Victory Podcast. It's been a minute. By the way, you know how long it's been?
I don't
either, but here's what I do know. The last time we did a podcast, it was like an hour and a half long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, did you know that?
I do remember that. Were you going to split that in half?
We did split it in
Okay,
half.
yeah.
Nakota did, our producer over there. So I want to give a shout out behind the scenes to Nakota.
That's right.
Handling up on the 1-2s over there. But no, on this podcast, we're going to kind of start a new series about something that you mentioned from the stage on capacity and what that means moving forward. We got a big thing coming to our church. When this airs, it'll probably be that Sunday coming up.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what the Lord spoke to you at the beginning of the year and how that applies to where we're at now?
Well, I really felt from the Lord, the word that I kept getting was capacity, that we needed to grow our capacity as a church. I mean, there was some practical things, like we had reached capacity for actually the amount of people we could fit on campus. Parking is our limiting factor. All of you who come to Victory know that parking is a challenge. So we had hit our capacity in parking, and we were even stretching our capacity in our buildings. And so that was the practical part of it. But in order to steward that well and to maintain it, the Lord started talking to me about capacity. So I personally have been working on, and capacity, the actual definition means the amount that something can hold or produce. Okay, so the total amount something can hold or produce. And we had hit our capacity for holding people and what we could produce, because when you limit what you can hold, you also limit what you can produce. And so so it kind of just started us on a journey. Felt that from the Lord this year. And so we, as a staff, been talking about this. And you got to figure out what that means. Obviously, the practical, growing your capacity practically is easy to understand. On September 7th, we're starting an 8:30 service. We're adding an 8:30 service, and so that will create capacity on our campus. But creating capacity in you and in people and in the team, that's a different journey altogether. It's not as clean and clear cut as creating capacity physically.
I'm actually reading a book right now. I didn't even tell you about this book I'm reading. Deb recommended it to me. It's called The Big Leap.
Yeah.
Have you know the book?
She told me about it the other day, but I hadn't started reading it.
Like I was reading it this morning and I was like, God, this applies so much to what's going on at the church. And what the whole premise is there is a governor in our life. There's an upper limit problem. It's like things are going well, and I think we can all relate financially.
Yeah.
Like you're going well, you're not actually worried about it, and then in your mind you're going, okay, I got to save up because something bad's going to happen. The economy's going to crash.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, well, I'm doing my exercise right now. I'm fit. Well, I know that that's going to come to an end later. And let's talk about this upper limit, how we need to push past to get into this thing called the zone of genius. And I was like, man, that is like growth all in us. Is like we just reach this governor in ourselves, and it's most of it, what I'm finding, is stuff in our past, stuff that maybe our parents told you, stuff like that keeps us from reaching our full potential, our full capacity.
I said something the other day from the pulpit that I believe we are, like Jody currently, I am the sum total of how I'm wired and what I've experienced in life.
Right.
All those things shape me into the person that I am today. And, in your walk with God, He's going to push those boundaries, and there's times for growth when you need to grow past, get healed from experiences. Rick preached this past Sunday about using the Word of God to renew your mind, and so pushing past false truths that you've known, or hurts from your past, or false perceptions of God and how the kingdom works, and all those things. And so stretching that is always part of your journey. But you mentioned reading a book. I just finished a book that our staff is reading. It's called Winning with People, by a pastor from the Dallas area that I've come in contact with here, and that was a good book. And I'm currently I'm not reading. I'm doing an audio book with a book called Rare Leadership. And the reason I mention that is because when you start talking about growing your capacity personally, one of the best ways, and this may be a tip for anybody who feels like I've kind of capped out in my life. Maybe it's my career or my marriage or my walk with God. It's like I'm kind of stale right now and I've hit cruise control. One of the great ways to begin to grow your capacity is to read. And I don't just love reading. I don't wake up in the morning passionate about reading. But I actually started looking around at some people in my life that I really respect for what they accomplish with their life. And one of the habits I've found that all those people do is they're readers. And so I'm reading more. Our staff is reading more. That's part of how we're growing is our capacity. But I would encourage you, individuals, if you want to grow, get a good book and start reading, start stretching your mind.
If you need recommendations, we got tons of recommendations for books.
Recommendations all day long. Yeah.
That's, I think, so far this year, not to pat myself on the back, but that was one of the things that when we talked about in January, me, you, and Lori about growing our capacity, I was like, I got to get back to being a reader.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't have time because up here it's bam, bam, bam. And it's like, no, I have to set time. I literally have to make an appointment with myself to go, I'm going to read.
And you know what? Like I've recently started doing, and I'm going to have to apologize because for years I've been the guy at the gym. Like I don't listen to anything. I don't watch anything. Part of it's personal because I can't stand watching people sit on a piece of equipment for 20 minutes on their phones and all this. I'm like, why are you even here? Why don't you can do that in your living room? But I've recently started using my gym time, and I'm like, okay, that's another way to grow my capacity because I'm watching podcasts, I'm listening to different things. Again, I'm not watching, The Office. I'm doing something that will actually.
You're not scrolling Facebook?
Right? Yeah, no, I don't. I still don't do Facebook.
So there's a book that just came in for me. It's called The Lions Tracker Guide for Life. And it's this adventure, and it's not, I don't read fiction. I only read nonfiction. But it's about that adventurous spirit and how to have it. And so it's really cool that I'm on all these new books. I think Deb sent a bunch of them to me, but some other stuff as well that I'm kind of looking at. So we got to get back to reading, growing our capacity. One area that you grew your capacity in, and so I'm going to give you a compliment, is whenever you first took over. I remember one of the first meetings that we had, I think it was me, you, Kayla, and Lori, and you talked about you had to get over your capacity for a lack mentality.
Yeah.
And I really think that you have accomplished that. Talk about, because that's a practical one.
Yeah.
Can you talk about maybe a little bit about that since people are maybe new, never heard about that?
Yeah. But it's all instigated by God. If you're walking with God, He just brings you through seasons in life. And I did, admittedly, I've been open about this. I have a conservative nature anyway, and I tend to think more lack-minded. And then some things I experienced in my life kind of compounded that.
Right.
But I've experienced generosity in the body of Christ and outside, but there's been some people in my life who part of their walk with God, something that marks their walk with God is just a spirit of generosity. And I've been a benefit of generosity. I'm like, God, that feels so good. I want to be that person. And so it has actually been something I've really had to focus on and intentionally being generous. When it hurts, be generous. Even though it stretches you, be generous. And so we're trying to do that with our staff, with our church, everything, and even in our personal walk, our personal life. It's just generosity. Because generosity is the heart of God, and when we serve a generous God, and I don't believe we reflect His nature truly when we walk with a scarcity mentality, a lack mentality. That's not God.
Yeah, absolutely. Generosity, this is something that me and you talked about forever, is there's people in my life who are so generous, and I want to be just like those people. Yeah. And so I used to think it had to start with, you got to give a car away or you got to give a house away. But it's actually, what I found is it's small little moments and that build up into a bigger heart of generosity. Yeah. So your lack mentality, that was one that you grew your capacity in. What's one, maybe, if you don't mind sharing, maybe you do, maybe we'll cut this out, I have no idea. What's something right now, practically, that you're like, okay, I'm growing my capacity?
There are things innately of how I'm wired, the way I do things, the way, I tend to be an introvert. I get energized being alone. And if I'm not careful, I'll use that as an excuse to stay away from people. and I'll just kind of like, hey, I'm an introvert, so don't ask too much of me.
Right.
And I'm like, the more I'm learning, and part of growing my capacity is I've got to be available. I've got to meet with people. I do a lot of marriage counseling, and in marriage counseling, I say all the time, the nature of love is it sacrifices. You don't tell me you love somebody if you don't sacrifice for them.
Yeah.
Sacrifice marks the kingdom of God. Jesus' sacrifice calls us as husbands to sacrifice. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And I'm like, if I in my leadership am not willing to sacrifice what is comfortable for me, what is my default, what is my, and so that's one of the things I'm doing is I'm trying to walk around more of the office and engage with people. Not necessarily you, but other people. I'm just teasing. Because when I engage with you, I end up getting a to-do list this long.
It happens.
So anyway, that's one of the ways I'm really trying to be intentional.
Right.
And if you're an extrovert, you're like, what's the big deal? You don't understand how I'm wired. I mean, this is a sacrifice, and it's something I'm having to really be intentional about. But that's one of the ways I'm growing.
What's crazy is I'm naturally the extrovert. Like we've always joked is me and you are such a yin and yang because we're the same type of personality except extrovert, introvert. But the older I get, I find like at 6 p.m., my extrovertness goes away, and now I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
And so I found joy in times alone now and refreshing me before I think I hid in the crowd a little. So I'm having to grow my capacity the other way and not going, because when you're in a crowd, you can kind of hide.
Yeah.
I believe that's the whole scripture, about depart from me, I never knew you because you hid in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding it the other way. And so I love this capacity thing since January and really like taking it personal. And we asked the Lord, when me, you, and Lori sat down in January and this whole capacity thing came to you, and we prayed.
Right.
And we literally said in this prayer, in the office, we go, Lord, whatever it looks like, we're open. We don't care.
Yeah.
We had no idea that it was going to turn into an 8:30 service because we really didn't want that because it's
funny how God works because you think, like I really heard from the Lord, like kind of the idea was I want to move Victory to the next step. And so we've got to grow the capacity. And that's like, yay, this is going to be so fun. You don't know how he's going to do it, though. And it's so interesting how God works because some of the moves we've made, that does not look like it's growing capacity. It actually looks like it's diminishing capacity.
Yeah.
But in the way the kingdom works is it's that upside down kingdom. It's, and so, there's been a lot of shifts and a lot of things changing, but it's a good journey.
So in this series, what we want to talk about is how our ministries, how the LP is growing in capacity, but also how Pastor Felix is. How's the worship team? How's Nakota? So we're doing some ministry stuff, and then we're talking about personal. So let's shift this to personal about me. Let's talk about me, Jody.
Let's do that.
So whenever we prayed this together, the last 2 years have been kind of iffy, like to say the least. Is what is my calling up here? What should I do? I've always felt connected to you. I've been here. I mean, literally, I've been at the church for 29 years. This is the place that, the room right next door is where I got saved. I mean, this is where I got mentored. You remember when this was your office?
I do.
So y'all throwing a ball against the wall in here. Your dad's office in there. So it's been a long time. And I've had many conversations with you over the last 2 years about, man, if you want to know me and Jody's relationship, it literally is about once a week going to knock on the door once a week going, hey, do I still fit? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And I didn't realize, I thought it was an insecurity in me, but what I didn't realize was the Lord was actually preparing me to, I don't know, how do you say it? Retire, resign, fired, move out.
Transition.
Transition
would be the word.
Hey, that's a proper word.
Transition out, yeah.
Transition out of, I don't want to even call it full-time ministry, call it vocational ministry. And I didn't realize, now we're going to get really personal, I didn't realize how much I idolized the term Pastor Brady, or I'm the executive pastor.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until people started realizing I was introducing myself with the title and not like, hey, I'm Brady. I serve as the executive pastor. Be like, hey, I'm executive pastor Brady. And like, you don't see janitor Bud. Hi, I'm Janitor Bud. But for some reason, I was doing that, and it's with some insecurity in me. And then finally, I don't know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago, I talked to you. I said, man, we had a conversation. Things weren't really jiving. And you said, go on vacation. We'll talk later. So get back from vacation. We talked, and it was like, okay, yeah, the chapter is ending.
Yeah.
And man, it was this moment of I hate to like. There's so I want to say this, but I feel like whenever I say it, it makes either one party look bad. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm really honest,
Okay.
I felt relief. But that, in a way, that could make the church staff look bad. But it's not. It's like it was something personal to where it just relieved. And since, I don't know, how long has it been? 4 weeks now? Something like that? 3 weeks? I explain it like this. I am walking on clouds. And I'm peaceful. I'm finding more, it's weird. I'm finding more people are listening to me now. Which you would think it would be the opposite. I find more people are texting me, asking me for prayer, asking me for advice. Doors are opening that I never thought would open in a business life for me.
Yeah.
I do think it's crazy. The Sunday we asked it, I still have multiple people like, "Hey, where are you gonna, like, what you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Y'all don't know what I really do." I have a business. I do film work, but just going full time into that, and this is still our church. I'm not going anywhere. My goal is to be volunteer of the year in a couple of years.
There you go.
I've always said that a lot of people don't know, from senior year in high school till junior year in college, I worked full time up here for
free,
zero pay. Like literally, I had an office. I had to buy my own office supplies, but I literally was here. It created some bitterness because I was like, I'm here longer than Jody and Rick. What the heck? And they're getting paid. I'm not. But it was all in my training.
Yeah.
And I always said I would still do what I do for the church if I didn't get a paycheck for it. And in 2004, we all know the story of Joel Osteen. When Joel wrote his first book, and he made millions on it, and he paid back every cent that he ever made from Lakewood Church. Dude, that was something in me that was like, oh man, the purity of heart to be able to do that. So I'm going to write you a check.
Good.
No, not yet. But that is what I want to do. Is I still consider myself Pastor Brady because the calling's irrevocable. And I'm still operating in that in my life. I'm not stepping out of ministry. I believe I'm stepping more into ministry.
Yeah, different venue of ministry.
Different venue. I've had, the guys who work with me in the concert world, I minister to more people outside the church than inside. Because church people, I'm like, you already got to go. And now I get to practice what I've been preaching.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. I'm sad that I'm not going to be in the room where it happens. But other than that, dude, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning when I said, expanding your capacity. The best plan to expand your capacity is not really to transition somebody out who's been integral in carrying weight.
Yeah.
With you. That's God's formula somehow, but it's not the natural formula. So it's a different season for Victory. It's a different season for you. And by the way, you and Kayla have handled this beautifully, and I think it's going to be hopefully an example to other people and churches even, that you can transition, you can shift without hurting relationships and leaving churches and all those kind of things. So you guys have handled that very maturely, and so thank you for that. Yeah. But I'm excited to see, just in the last few weeks, you're telling me what God's doing in your life. But that may be a lesson for people if you're walking with God and you feel like God's calling you to expand your capacity or grow in some kind of way. Sometimes that means letting go of something,
right? And
that's really scary, especially something that's been part of your life and your income, and it's tied to your income and your profession and your identity and all this. Letting go of that is really, really tricky, and so. But that's kind of the key, I think, to the next step. You've got to leave the comfortable to experience the newness.
And Deb said something to me. If y'all know Deb's like our consultant at church, but she said something to me. She said, Brady, you have been playing it safe for a long time. And I've been
Yeah.
playing it safe, and I've been dabbling in both worlds.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who's loyal to, like, my dad is a loyal guy. He taught me loyalty.
Yeah.
That's why he's only had, 2 careers in his life, because he's just a loyal guy.
Yeah.
Probably my fault as a leader is, as a leader, you got to put people first. If I would say one fault that I have is I'm an organizational man. I put the organization before people,
Yeah.
because this place is going to be here no matter if you're here or not.
Right.
And so I think that's where I got a little, if I would go back and go, God, I probably didn't need that to happen. But also what I'm learning is to quit apologizing for the way the Lord made you. There are rough edges to us, but there is something innate in all of us that is God-given. And whenever you try to put yourself in a box that you're not meant to be in, not only are you inside dying, but also the people around you can see it.
Yeah.
And you rub them the wrong way. And I've always said, when I was youth pastor, to preach on stage, it's like, when God says jump, go. Like, what's the big deal? And I didn't realize how much I was like teetering on the edge for all these years. And so now be able to, like, wow, okay, I'm in. And the peace that we feel is, dude, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it makes no physical sense
Yeah.
in the natural world, but in the spiritual world, I see it, I feel it. I just, and now what we're praying for, if y'all want to know how to pray for me, is there's too many open doors. And I'm not saying that bragging, but I'm like, all right, Lord, you need to close the doors that are coming the way that I need you to open the ones and make it clear. And so Proverbs is my go-to right now. Is like, Lord, I'm submitting to you, and you're going to direct my steps on who to say yes to and not, because, when you're a entrepreneur, self-employed, it's not guaranteed. And so do you just hustle while it's
at
there?
The first, jump at the first open opportunity. Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. And so spiritually speaking, at the prayer room yesterday, you asked what the Lord's been saying to you. Well, during our prayer room moments, the Mondays of the month of August, the Lord gave me 4 words. And I haven't heard God's voice this clear in a long time.
Wow, good.
And I'll tell you my 4 words, because I think it applies not just to me, but a lot of people in an area that they're stepping into. Is I have a box now, and my box is, number 1, ministry is still number 1. No matter where I go, no matter what it is, I don't care if I go work for it doesn't matter. It is, ministry is it's who I am.
Yeah.
We don't separate that. The second one is, I really need to keep walking in the peace I feel now. Like our buddy Trey, your brother-in-law, me and him have talked about peace forever. Like, because 6 years ago I had a conversation with him, man, I think my time at the church is coming to an end. He's like, follow the peace.
Yeah.
Where's the peace going? Oh, you want to build a house? Where's the peace going? Like, and so follow that peace. And the third one is, I don't feel like I should be handcuffed right now to an organization, to a business. And so I'm really going after, I don't want to be a W-2 employee. I'm really going all into my business. Deb said, you got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm betting on myself right now, and betting on the Lord's telling me to do. And my 4th one is financial security. Like something, when you work at a church, you don't have a blasting 401k. Oh, sorry. But yeah, we do. I mean,
do
it's
it,
so
Victor,
great.
yeah.
My yacht's parked in the harbor. But do we have a harbor here? So that's my 4 walls right now. And that came to me probably the first Monday prayer that we had, whenever I was like, Lord, what am I doing with my life? And those words were just like spoken to me, to almost like tattooed on my heart. And now whenever I'm meeting with these people and these doors are opening, I'm like, if it fits in this box, the answer is yes. If it doesn't, I don't care how attractive it is and how much I want to, I got to stay in this box.
Good.
And normally we're like, get out of the box, but this is my 4 walls of my
got you.
life.
I got you.
And I wish the Lord would have spoke that to me way earlier, but I probably wasn't in the mindset to be there. And so,
He's just really, really, really good at getting us where he wants us to go. And he's just, the longer I live, the more confident I am is that he orders the steps of a righteous man. He's both the author and the finisher of your faith. He's the one who began the work in you. He's the one that's going to complete the work in you. And so you can trust the Lord. And so while we're talking about this, this is how my mind works. I'm thinking about what we're talking about. I'm thinking about who's watching this or whatever. And I guess I would say it in this way. We felt this word from the Lord, grow your capacity. And as a church, we needed to grow our capacity. And so first thing we did was we set times of prayer and fasting. If you feel like God's stretching you or calling you to a new level,
Right.
prayer and fasting and honestly, these prayer times we've had throughout the month have been so good for me, because I'm learning that when I quiet myself before the Lord, I just hear his voice so clearly. And so that's a reminder for me. But anyway, prayer and fasting is a part of it. Don't be afraid if what you're hearing from God looks wrong. I guess that
In the
sounds bad.
natural.
In the
No,
natural,
I got
that it like this couldn't be the way,
Right.
for this to happen, and then you've given us a personal example of what that looks like in your life. So we're kind of organizationally, this is how we're doing it, but this is how I'm doing it personally. Again, prayer, fasting, reading, podcasts. Just start feeding yourself. And that's a way to grow. That's kind of the tools or the plan maybe that God uses to grow our capacity. And then you're giving us a personal example
Right.
of what it looked like in your life, And you may not want me to share this, but
I'm an open book, bro.
you've done this to me a bunch of times, so I'm going to do it to you. That God had given Laurie a vision for you, and this was so powerful to me, because when we were thinking about all this transition stuff and is this right, look, God had given Laurie a vision that you had a concrete block on each foot, and one was labeled pride and one was labeled fear. And when she said that to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is
Right.
because a lot of times people say, I had a dream, and they'll explain it to me, and I'm like, okay, and they're like,
Yeah.
this is from God. And I'm like, oh, I'll take your word for it,
Right.
But I knew that this was from God, because you said, not that you're a prideful person, but that title,
It's okay. It's all
that
good.
title, I'm Pastor Brady, I'm the executive
Right.
pastor at Victory. There can be some pride in that. And then the fear of, if I'm not that, if I step
What
out,
am I?
who am
Yeah.
I? And stuff. I saw that in my dad. I'm throwing my dad under the bus too while we're doing it. When he retired here and wasn't Pastor Larry anymore, lead pastor of Victory, what is he?
Right.
Who is he? And so, but that vision, I think, was true for you. And thank God you were like, okay, we're going to get these blocks off.
Right.
And we'll kill pride and we'll kill fear. And now there's so much victory on the other side of that. But it's
Right.
scary in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And it's even hard to hear in the moment. Nobody wants to hear I'm prideful.
Right.
Or that I'm afraid. No man wants to hear.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not fearful. What are you talking
What are you
about? Put me in a
talking-
lion's den. I'm ready. But I want to be practical with this, because I don't want to overstate it so I always say be an open book, and it shouldn't matter what we say. So I'm just going to be honest. So Brecken has a little medical thing. It's
Brecken's his oldest son.
Sorry. I figured y'all know me. And
We have people all over the world watching
that's
this.
right.
People
so
in
if you're
India don't know
listening,
who Brecken
New Guinea. But Brecken's my oldest son, and he has a lot of food allergies, and that food allergy developed in something in his esophagus where he needs a special medication. Medication is ridiculous, $8,000 a month or something like that. And our insurance is really good at Victory. Like, you've really done a good job getting our insurance where it needs to. So about 2 months ago, I don't think I even told you this. 2 months ago, I left the office one day and I went home, and I told Kayla, I said, hey, let's start shopping private insurance. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I think I'm done at the church. And she's like, you had a bad day? I'm like, no, I just feel it. And she went into
full faith
panic mode. Like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Because a year and a half, 2 years ago, Kayla felt the Lord tell her to resign from the hospital. Very similar situation. She's like, the Lord has more for me, and I feel like this job at the hospital is holding me back. So she thought it was something else. So she resigned, started doing what they call soft nursing, IVs, and pain management type stuff, where she only works like 1 day a week. And to give her more time, more capacity to do ministry. We thought it was going to look like something.
Okay.
And so she left the possibility of getting insurance from the hospital and all this. And so when I do that, she went into like, oh my gosh, this is how much our insurance is. What are we going to do? So after about 4 days, she said, hey, I'm good. I trust the Lord. And he knows Brecken. He knows Briggs. He knows us. He knows we're good. And then I was like, no, I'm good at the church. Like now that you're through panic mode, I'm good. And then when this all came down, so I want to be practical. It was probably 30 minutes of fear. Whenever me and you, we got together and you said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And it was like, oh, wow, I'm losing something here. And it was about 30 minutes of, oh, God, how am I going to pay for insurance? And then after that, dude, I'm telling you the peace. And you probably saw it in my face.
Yeah.
In that meeting, you probably saw the panic at first, and then the like being angry at first, like I'm not a failure. What am I? I'm gonna succeed, and you just choke the life out. It's like a little pet, Tommy boy, and you just take the. All right, so that's what was happening, and then we brought Kayla in, and you probably saw Kayla's face change, and so it's truly is. We know the Lord is directing our steps, and He will supply all our needs.
Yeah.
And that is what the word says, and we are word people.
Yeah.
And there is a couple of things we want people to know. When you said change the paradigm of seasons of church staff, when we were talking to some pastor friends of ours, our mutual friends, they were shocked that I'm still coming to church here. And I'm like, that's sad that the only 3 ways to get out of ministry is you die, or you're too old to make a difference, or you did something immoral.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't do that, you resign and you leave.
Yeah.
Or you move, and I'm not. And so I really think this is unusual, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's
right.
It's okay for a
This ought to be
season.
the new norm. Yeah.
It needs to be the norm. Like, it's okay to have seasons. And I've always said I'm a lifer at the church, but I never said I was a lifer on staff.
Right. No.
And I think now seeing that, I had somebody ask me the other day, do you think you held on too long? Yeah. But I don't think I could have made this. I don't think I could have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this probably should have happened 2-4 years ago, to be honest with you. But I was pride and fear.
Yeah.
And it kept me a little too long. And probably, just to throw you under the bus, probably fear from you about me leaving, because I handle a lot for you.
Yeah, definitely.
As you can tell in the last month. But and here's something crazy. And I don't have a. This may sound prideful. I don't have a weight problem. I've always been a skinny dude, but I didn't realize how much stress I was carrying. And that Monday morning, by that Thursday, I lost 8 pounds. And I know people are like, how do you have 8 pounds to lose? You don't understand what I look like with my shirt off. And do you want to see? I've kept it off, and I'm not trying to. It's just I didn't realize how much stress I was carrying, because I was carrying something I wasn't meant to be carrying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I heard Simon Sinek say today, I know he's not a Christian guy, but
I love Simon Sinek.
Simon Sinek. I heard him say that if you're in a job that you hate, of course, that's extreme language.
Yeah.
But if you're in a job, maybe let's change that to you're not fit for or shouldn't be in, that equals stress. If you're in a job that you love, it's passion. Right. So the difference between stress and passion is because they kind of look the same. They can look the same, but the motivation is I really don't like this. I'm not fit for this. This isn't the season for me to be there. That's stress. That causes stress. Yeah. Somewhere that you're supposed to be. That's passion.
Right.
You know.
And you've always said whenever you first took over, you gave us a keyword that I use extreme language all the time. I think I've really buffered it down a lot. Would you say muskrat? Anytime in staff meeting, I was starting to get extreme, like, we never reach people. And you're like, muskrat. But I've calmed down the extreme language. And someone asked me the other day, one of my friends are like, so you'll never be back on church staff? I'm like, I'm never saying never. Like, you never know. I think the Lord is bringing me somewhere through something. I don't know if I'll ever get a paycheck from the church. I don't know if I want to go that route again, but I still am involved. I still want to be here. I still want to be part of a team, a leadership team. I mean, and it's crazy how whenever you step out, I always thought like being here would give me a road to be a speaker at other churches or all that. And all that kind of, I I speak. We always joke that I got invited more than you, which I think you're a way better communicator than me. See what I did right there? Still leading my leader. But it's funny when all this went down, even the speaking engagements have now picked back up. And it's like, but I feel like even people in the ministry here are asking me more questions, like my advice. And I'm like, why didn't you do this when I was here? Now you're wanting to get lunch with me. I don't understand that. But I think it's because they saw the pride, because I was trying to be somebody who I wasn't. And now our friend has told me, quit apologizing for the way God made you.
Yeah.
And that has freed my brain up a lot. So that's how we're growing capacity here. That's how you've grown capacity. Our church, thank God the 8:30 service is coming, because that parking lot, bro, and the seats.
And thank God for sheriff's deputies who come stop Highway 94 so we can get in and out of this place.
We need one
That's
more.
been a blessing.
We need a guy at the light down the road to turn on the light, to keep it green so people can get through. That's the next one. Who do we know in the traffic industry that could...
If you're in that line, I know it's a pain.
Yeah.
But it sure makes me excited when we are disrupting the flow of traffic on a major highway in the United States. That's like kingdom stuff right there.
Every Sunday morning, I pray for this, like no lie. I go, Lord, please let the interstate not have problems today.
Oh yeah, boy! If I-10 shut down,
Because if I-10 shuts down and Highway 90 is blasting,
the whole community might turn against us then.
Yeah, but now the 8:30's coming. So what do you see with this 8:30? Like, really, what is we haven't even talked about this person. We've been talking about me for a month now. But what what do you see? Like, give me some vision. Like, really, not like, oh, we're gonna quadruple inside. I'm not talking about numbers. Like, really, what are you seeing? What are you feeling?
I do feel that, I've always been opposed. I don't like two services. I don't like multiple services, but that's just a personal thing.
Right.
But I feel like we're at a place now where the church is like, thank God we're adding a service. So I'm excited about that. So I think we're going to see a new level of engagement. I think people who have kind of been on the fringe because they're not so tied in that they can push through the parking to get here. I think it's really going to open up for more people to come in, more people to encounter God, more people to come get discipled. And so I'm excited about that. And God's given us some vision even beyond this campus and doing some different things. And so it's really a season of vision. But again, the first thing that happens is you got to grow here. If I don't grow, it doesn't matter what the vision is. And so I'm excited about what growing our capacity is going to unleash in our work for the kingdom of God. Because again, we're not competing against anybody, and I'm not the guy who's trying to be the biggest anything, but I do want to be the best version of Victory that we can be, and good stewards of what God's called us to do. So I'm excited. Yeah,
I am too. I'm really excited. Even the staff, I'm really excited about. There's some young people that you'll see on the podcast coming up, some new hires that we made. So I'm really excited for you to meet them and see their hearts and what's going on. And
I tell you, in this new season, I don't know how long we're going with this thing, if it's getting too long, but something else God's doing in me is that it's not about Jody anymore. I really want to start raising up other voices and other people. We're doing a series right now called Old and New Voices, and bringing more people, even voices on the platform who are speaking. But I'm meeting with a group of younger guys right now, just trying to start discipling and pulling out the gifts in them. And I want to be an empowerer. I don't want to just be empowered. I want to be an empowerer. So that's a little shift that God's just starting in me, and I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have a real dialed in process yet, but working on that. So anyway, there's a lot of good things here. So we're growing our capacity as a church, growing our capacity as a staff. I want to encourage, if you're a member of Victory, start talking to the Lord about capacity. Like, what does He need to do in you for this season? Things that are alive grow. Yeah. And we ought to be growing.
And I kind of want to end on this. I believe the Lord wants to grow capacity in people hearing the voice of the Lord.
Yeah.
And when that starts happening, don't be scared to say something when the Lord speaks to you. And I was a recipient of that the Monday that me and you talked and the decision was made that my time here is over, that night was our prayer room. And I'm sitting on the back row, and that's when the Lord started talking to me about these 4 things. But still, I'm looking at my first office right there. You know, the
nostalgia.
The memories start kicking in. I'm remembering, Brad in a loincloth and us doing gorilla wrestling back there for the youth.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the video. No, I do have video of that, by the way. I have so much. Oh man, I have so much blackmail material and so many people here, but I was sitting back there and still going, "Oh Lord, what's going on?" Well, that night, a lady in our church said something to me like, "Hey, you still walking slow?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I have to now." Well, no one knew because the staff didn't even know yet. And so I was keeping it. We were keeping it all on the inside, and she thought that offended me, but it didn't. And she wound up getting Kayla's phone number from Lori that night because me and Kayla left, and she sent a text to Kayla for me. And in that moment, even though what's going on is the Lord, you still have these, I failed, I didn't make a difference, that kind of thing. And that's just real life. And she sent a text going, "You don't understand. I don't want to offend you, but y'all have made such an impact in my life. Your mess." And she started talking about the messages I've preached. She said, "We are your number one fans. We love you." She had no idea that day was the day that I was having all these, "Oh my God, I failed as a pastor. I wasted 22 years of my life. What am I doing?"
Yeah.
And that text was like, wow. I was actually roping the dummy that night, and Kayla said, "Look at this." And it was just like, the Lord is so, I'm going to use a word, and I don't use this word often. The Lord is so sweet.
Yeah. Little kiss from heaven.
We know he's kind,
Yeah.
but man, in those moments, he was using, I hate using the word using, but he was partnering with people to say, "Hey, I got you."
Yeah.
And so if those people would be like, "No, that's Pastor Brady, I can't say that to him," I needed that. And so when the Lord's saying something to you, and even when we announced it on stage on that Sunday, and the text messages I got, and people, I know I come across like, "Hey, I don't need that. I'm tough." I needed it.
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid to give people. And then the huddle, I told Sierra this after the huddle, because that day that we announced it, good God, I was like, finally, people love me here. It's crazy. And people started talking. I'm like, and my uncle just passed away, and I'm like, why do we wait till someone's over to give them words of affirmation?
Right.
And so I want to be a super encourager of people.
Yeah.
And not wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
Like, encourage people as we're walking with them, and I think our staff needs to do that.
When we talk about generosity, we often think of money, but think about being generous with your words, and generous and kind, and with encouragement and all those type of things. Those are all great.
Anyway,
Great things.
All right, so that's going to wrap up this episode of the Victory Podcast, and I'm excited to see you interview the rest of the staff moving forward. I think it's going to be a good one.
Beautiful.
So
come back at you later.
Catch you on the next one.